Hi, my name is John Very, Principal Consultant at Pivot Point Security. We're a premier partner of All Covered, the IT Services Division of Konica Minolta. Welcome back to the Konica Minolta Legal TV Network. Phishing is a big challenge for any company, but it's an especially big problem for law firms, as the quantity and value of the data that they possess makes them such an attractive target. As recent articles in the American Lawyer, ABA Journal, and LawMarketing.com point out, it may be that as many as 90% of recent attacks against law firms have included some level of phishing. Now, where that gets scary to me is that in the mock phishing attacks we conduct as a mechanism to test security awareness, the percentage of personnel that click on a poison link usually approaches 35%. That's not encouraging. So what can you do? You can start by putting these 4 fundamental controls in place. First, educate your team. While I agree with Ron White that you can't fix stupid, you can fix a lack of awareness. Second, put a solid vulnerability and configuration management plan in place. Even with a great security awareness training program in place, people are going to make mistakes. And when they do, you want to minimize the impact of those mistakes. Third, have a plan for dealing with phishing incidents. It's important that users know how to report suspect emails or that they clicked on a bad link. A quick response can save other users from making the same mistake or prevent a minor incident from turning into a major one. Fourth, test your plan. Now that you've educated the team, you've hardened your systems, and you have a solid plan in place, you need to make sure that things work as expected. It's likely they aren't going to work exactly as expected at first, so use testing as a mechanism for continuous improvement. Now let's drill into some of the details in each of the 4 areas I just outlined, so that hopefully this all becomes a little more actionable. Over the last few years, my opinion on security awareness training has shifted quite a bit. For most firms, people are your greatest threat surface. They're your greatest risk. At the same time, they're also your greatest threat detection mechanism. So investing, even in some very basic security education, can really provide a significant return on investment. So do something. You can buy an off-the-shelf program from folks like Konica Minolta or Sans, or you can develop your own homegrown presentation. In either case, it will be well worth your effort. One last caveat. Some research shows that someone hasn't really heard something until they've heard it 7 times. So make sure that you repeat and vary your training on a regular basis. Most phishing attacks work in one of 2 basic ways. Either get a user to visit a poisoned website, or get a user to open a poisoned email attachment. The poisoned website attack is usually what we call a drive-by download attack, which automatically downloads a malicious file to the visitor's machine when they hit the page. The poisoned document attack is usually a document attached to an email that, when opened, loads malware onto the local machine. In either of these 2 cases, in order for the attack to be successful, that host needs to be vulnerable to the attack, which is why a vulnerability and configuration management program is so important. If your patching covers your browsers, Adobe Reader, and Acrobat, as well as Microsoft Office, you can reduce your risk very significantly. If at the same time you ensure that you're running an up-to-date antivirus application and/or a desktop IPS application, even better. You can implement a good patch management application and/or a vulnerability scanner yourself without too much pain. Or if it's simpler, a good managed services provider can do it for you at a reasonable price. Even with good security awareness training and vulnerability and configuration management, you can still have a user make a mistake. Or you can have a laptop that's been out of the office for a while and thus is vulnerable. So part of the education should be to let users know that you have an incident response plan. You also need to stress how important it is that they let you know if they see suspicious emails or if clicked on what might be a malicious link. Ideally, they would call your help desk or IT staff immediately. Getting a copy of the email and shutting down outbound access to the malicious website will prevent other users from making the same mistake. Getting the user to take their machines off your network as soon as possible will minimize the likelihood that malware will propagate. Remember to stress to your users, your help desk, and your IT staff that time is of the essence when it comes to limiting the negative impact of a phishing attack. Lastly, you're going to need to validate that it's all working the way you think it is. You should plan and execute a mock phishing attack, likely yearly. You can engage a security assessment company or use an online tool and do it yourself. In either case, strong scenario development and execution is critical to getting a realistic response. Your test should be unannounced, with as few people being aware of the test as possible. The test should include a broad cross-section of your firm. although the test results should probably be scrubbed so as not to embarrass anyone, especially a partner. Communicate the results and lessons learned and make adjustments to your awareness training, vulnerability and configuration management, and incident response plan based on the test results. The great news is that you can eliminate a large percentage of your phishing risk with just the 4 relatively straightforward controls I've just outlined. If you need some guidance on phishing or other information security and compliance challenges, you can reach out to your local all-covered legal rep by emailing legalteam@allcovered.com. Thanks for tuning in to Konica Minolta's Legal TV.